Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Like we got a good group here together this morning. Thanks for joining me. Uh, First off, please excuse any sniffles and whatnot, dealing with the spring allergies, so apologize for that ahead of time. Welcome to the Hurley Investments Trade Findings and Adjustments of May 16th, 2024. This is with you, Keith Bybee. Kevin has, as you guys know, has been taking over quite a bit over the last couple months. As you know, we're still getting used to a new baby and a third child and all of that fun stuff. And he's been super helpful taking over for these for me. But I thought today this would be a good opportunity to see if I couldn't jump back into the swing of things. So it's good to be back with you guys. Um, what I have written down here is of no consequence. This is back from when I did my last webinar back in like February. Thought it was more like March sometime, but anyways, we talked a little bit about Micron, Under Armour. We'll talk a little more about Under Armour, but the situation is different now. Obviously, we've got some earnings reports we've gone through. Things are a little changed. You know, typically we have some good ideas for trades you could do. This one is going to be more of a findings and an adjustments, not findings, more of an adjustments. So what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about Under Armour, their earnings yesterday, and I want to talk about Baidu, which had earnings. Just getting organized here, bear with me. So this was pretty cool. Obviously, we still got to get above $7, which has been a support and a resistance in the past. And now the 50 days right there. Armor earnings, beat top and bottom line, and cautioned about uncertainty in the future with inflation. If anybody has been following along with pretty much any earnings anywhere, this is pretty much the same as you've probably heard over and over and over, hold on, and over again. But this morning, Under Armour beat top and bottom, cautioned on their uncertainty of the future, opened way down at 629, or very close anyway. Let me see if I can get the exact. Open at 625. This morning looked more like it was going to be going down to $6 than it was going to be heading back up to 7. Here they had great earnings, said the same damn thing everybody else has said. and all the other stocks that went up after good earnings and cautioned about the future. And of course, Under Armour is getting crapped on once again. And just as we were looking at, well, maybe we take off puts at $6 for profit, dollar cost average, it started to come up. And it kind of ran the gamut this morning and went down big and popped up, started to go up. So maybe a little sense started to come in as people digested, as the market digested some of the earnings and thought some of the same things we thought, which was, no duh, every other company has said the same thing. Yep, a lot of uncertainty. Not sure what to expect in the future. Inflation keeps going up. And to add to that, the market has run up. This has run up from basically CPI being slightly under what was expected. Still going up. Inflation is still going up. But because it came in slightly less, our market thinks we need to continue to go up. Don't get me wrong, I like it when it goes up. But man, it just seems like people are stupid and fickle. So, what's next for Under Armour? I'm going to give you guys a chance to pipe in. What do you do now? You own thousands of shares of Under Armour. You have protection up at $7. When do you take that protection off the table? Or is it just too uncertain and you should keep it on? What are you looking at from this chart in reaction to a good earnings that's somewhat typical of the same things others have said? What would you be using to make your decision as to when to pull off protection? And thanks, Lee, for your compliment there. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Another comment from Lee. I'm almost inclined to start looking for a better place to put money. This stupid stock has been so frustrating. Just keeps going down on the same earnings beating as some of the other best retailers, and they just don't get the love, do they? Lee, is this just a value trap? I was looking for more technically what we're going to do on based on decisions we use with puts. But we've spent all this time. We had it when it was at 9-ish and it went up to 27, 22, or excuse me, in 2020. Fell down from 27, and let me get to a bigger chart here. So I tell you, it was actually closer in the 20s, 21, and then fell down to around, and actually had gone down to 7 or 8. We dollar cost averaged here, bought plenty of more shares, booked profits from puts, saw it go all the way up, back up to 27, 28 almost. Then what? Supply chain issues like everybody else. But of course, Under Armour needs to get beat up more than Nike. Look at Nike. Yeah, I mean, geez. Nike kind of got beat up, but not as much as Under Armour. $20 stock going all the way down to 7. They just got beat up so much on earnings that weren't any worse. In fact, were better percentage-wise than Nike. Did get bounced back to almost 13, almost 13 on the dot. Did we add thousands of more shares at various levels down to here, all the way down to the bottom? Yes, several times in here, we've added thousands and thousands across all of the accounts we manage of more shares. Did it grow accounts when it came back up here? Yes, it did. At least contributed to it. Oh, started to fall down again. We've added more shares. Haven't added more since this little blip, but we have that opportunity. We've protected on these drawdowns. We've added the opportunity to add more shares. We don't need to get it up to 28, 27 to be profitable. But why can't it get back up there? I agree with you, Lee. It's been frustrating, but don't be too pessimistic. All these new shares, hundreds and thousands in different accounts, they're going to grow, they're going to contribute to growth in your account into the future. We can afford to be patient with these. We've had Apple and Meta and a bunch of other stocks take off. Why can't we wait for this one that seems to be kicked down, undervalued, that we've just accumulated more and more shares, lowered our cost basis more and more. When everybody else is sitting waiting through this and waiting to get for it to get back up to 27, geez, we have some serious profit when it gets back up there. We have some good profit when it gets to, most likely, I haven't done my math, but most likely 10 to 12. Maybe even sooner than that. We've dollar cost averaged so many times with this one. It's so darn cheap. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm taking too much time with this. I see it coming back to a resistance level at $7. It's still holding up really well, testing that $7 and the 50-day. See no reason why we can't wait a day or two. Once we have a good confirmation of closing over that 50-day for a couple days, that's definitely a good reason to pull protection off. If we continue to go sideways, might keep it on for a couple more days. But this is big volume, and people are clearly on this day seeing the opportunity here in Under Armour. Why would you sell this one off when you've accumulated so many shares that you don't need to do anything with but sit and wait for this company to continue to build profit, change people's minds, and head up at some point? What goes down must come up. Not all the time, but there is no reason why a company like Under Armour can't. No reason whatsoever. All right, Baidu. Gonna go over this one quick. Another one that's kind of been frustrating. Just won't head up. They've been having great earnings this whole darn time. They beat on revenue. They have tighter margins. Spending more money to make less than in the past. Again, for a company that's been so beat up and has been doing better earnings wise than a lot of other companies that are taking off on similar earnings, lower margins, spending more money to make less. It's the same tune a bunch of other, and obviously not all, bunch of other companies are dealing with. But because this is the Chinese stock and other Chinese companies have struggled, apparently that means Baidu needs to struggle too, stock wise. Company, not so much. It is nice to see it start to turn around. Similar idea. Came down, touched a pivot, excuse me, a moving average, back up. Short-term resistance level around 110, but really kind of in no man's land between the 50 and 200. Baidu is a bigger priced stock, but you know what? I still feel that we have the time to be patient as we've added so many dollar cost averaged so many shares. And the upside in a Chinese tech stock like this, that's the best business in China and the best opportunity. No reason why this one can't be a big hitter in the future. But again, Lee, I feel you. I know what you're saying, and we sit and look at some of these and just shake our head and just throw our arms up and go, what on earth is everybody not seeing here? But at the same time, you've taken all this time to be so patient and accumulate shares for future profit. Why would you throw that away? Especially when any alternatives are really iffy as well. Are you really going to find a better alternative? It's possible, but there's a lot of uncertainty there. And with these two stocks, at least we know we've dollar cost averaged, lowered our cost basis, and they can be the big ones in the future. Big opportunity, more shares, lower cost basis. I'm going to switch that. More shares, lower cost basis, big opportunity. That's really it. At 110, we can probably look at pulling those protections off too for Baidu. But again, we have that little pivot points, not really a resistance level, but short term. And let's see what it does. We can be patient there. Another question from Lee. Some of your selections in my account have done very well. Under Armour hasn't for a while, so why wait indefinitely for better results? Well, I think you just kind of answered it in there. Why can't you wait for this one to come back that you've been patient with, that you've dollar cost averaged, that you've added shares? When you've had other stocks take off, how do you know that as soon as you don't pull this off, put it into something else that you think should go well, and that one that you put it in has already run its course and starts to fall down, and Under Armour starts to take off? I mean, it's been similar story with Ford in the past. Big opportunity there. It took like 5 years for that stupid stock to go up. Ridiculous. Finally popped up to 15, had protection on it, and it kind of tanked on their earnings. We just let it get called away and we booked a nice profit. But it took a while. So cheap. It's not like it's a ridiculous part of anybody's account. Let the process work, as frustrating as it might be. Those selections that have done well are going to probably struggle. And these other stocks like Under Armour, Baidu are going to have their time at some point. That's just how things go. Thanks for your thoughts, questions, Lee. I love getting that. That's really it for me, guys. That's all I wanted to go through. Any other last questions? Sure would be nice if some politicians pulled their heads out of their butts and stop acting like they can tax us into prosperity, or like raising taxes is somehow going to help everybody. My goodness. Can we please get a different president in November? Please. Anybody. I don't care if it's Trump, anybody else that doesn't think they can tax us into prosperity. Of the 7 highest taxing countries in the world, the US is the top. Does that make any sense to anybody? We make 4.5 trillion in taxes. That's what we made last. We spent 6.5 trillion. How many trillions do we need? How can we can't make this country work and our government work on $4.5 trillion? Give me a break. And with that, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks so much. Take care. See you next time. Have a good weekend. Take care. Bye.